because somebody was playing his court case in the newsroom, and they was like, "You letting them dox my blah 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 up here." So if I am hearing
Well, there's
correctly,
these people are adults now, so they're not kids.
I don't give a fuck if they was kids or adults. I still hear first and last names. It sounds doxy like.
So I think people have a different definition of doxing. Everybody see it differently, so that's how I go with it.
It's just a news article.
Complex on Galbraith Road. When he arrived, a woman came to his car and stated that she needed to retrieve the cell phone. She left briefly and then returned to his vehicle, entering the passenger side. DeWood, who had rolled his window down, then felt a pistol press against his neck. Y'all, that has to be scary, okay? DeWood testified that two men wearing black clothes and skull caps were holding pew-pews pointed at him. One of the men told DeWood to give him everything he had. DeWood gave the man $200. The man then told DeWood to leave. DeWood put his car in reverse. The woman, Susu, jumped out of his car and he drove away. Philip testified that on March 26, 2014, he had responded to a Craigslist ad to buy a laptop computer for $500. After texting with the buyer, Susu, he drove to an apartment complex on Galbraith Road, same road. When he arrived, a woman, Susu, walked up to his car and told him that she needed to retrieve the laptop computer from inside the apartment complex. She walks towards the apartment complex and returns to his car within 10 to 15 seconds with a bag. She asked James to unlock the front passenger door. As the woman opened the front passenger door, a man wearing dark clothing ran along the passenger side of James' vehicle. He pointed a pew-pew at James. So scary. A second man who had approached from the driver's side opened James' neck. Now, these are kids, you guys. So at any point, these firearms could have went off or they could have mishandled them. Okay? What do you mean fix my box? So it says, then men told James to give them everything he had.
Public info. You don't like it, go after the person who wrote the article. Again, since we're having the docs talk,
This isn't doxing. This is a news
article. I'm
article.
not talking about you, though. I'm not talking about you. We've seen numerous times a motherfucker go to LinkedIn or go to another something that's public, quote unquote shit, bring it back to TikTok and dox motherfuckers. So let's not be a little dense on it. It don't matter if it's on a different social media platform. I think we should all know that by now. It's not about the public or the privateness of it. We've already done that. It's about the intent behind it. If that's the case, then half the shit wouldn't be doxing because it's already out there on a different platform anyways. And y'all know that. Y'all just want to be dense.
James gave the men his phone and wallet, as well as some cash, credit card, the vehicle's armrests. James testified that he had $600 in his wallet and $24 in the armrest. Edna LeBan testified that on March 25th, 2014, she was with Amos and Gerard Shearer. They had placed a fictitious ad on Craigslist for an iPhone, and they intended to rob the buyer, who they were meeting off of West Galbraith Road. She testified that her job was to bring the buyer in and to make them feel comfortable talking to him so Shearer and Amos could then rob him. Doesn't that sound familiar to what she does on the app? LeBan testified that she communicated with the buyer on her cell phone, telling the buyer where to meet her. When the buyer arrived, she greeted him and then entered his car. Shearer and Amos then came around the vehicle. She heard them tell the buyer to shut up and all that stuff. But she didn't know what happened after that because she's lying to the government. LeBan testified that on March 26, 2014, she spoke with a potential buyer and set up meeting at the same location. She had a Craigslist ad for a computer. Shearer and Amos were with her at the time. When the buyer arrived, she ran, so she didn't see the actual robbery. She testified that she did not know what was taking place. LeBan testified that on March 28, 2013, testified that on March 28, 2013, it was simple. People's job was to wait in the car boyfriend. But she was the buyer whom she later went with an undercover officer. Pulled out and testified that she did not know if Shear and Amos had pew-pews today. So you know the strap on the line. So you know the strap on the line.
That please, Braid, what you say?
I was talking to Blaze them. Go ahead.
Yeah.
What got to do with this?
What's good? Hey, Cookie.
Hey,
How you been, Cookie? You all right?
doing good.
Happy to
At
hear
least
that.
I don't need
Bless-
$2,000 for a Nissan Altima.
Who got a Nissan?
Hey, who is that? Wait, who is that for? Who that's for?
Who?
That big poor lady that begs every 6 months and says she's never going to beg again. You don't need $2,000 for no damn Nissan Altima. Are you crazy? You don't drive no Benz.
Cookie.
Cookie, we're not at that part yet.
Oh, hell.
So she could have cost these kids their lives, okay, in all kind of ways. So they could have accidentally unalived one of these people that would have said no and resisted, okay. They could have unalived law enforcement. Now she grown and they kids. So we're gonna leave it at that. And yeah, she grown and they kids. Sergeant Scott Owen testified that on March 20th, 2014, he came into contact with Shear and Amos. He had been investigating 2 robberies that occurred on March 25th, 2014 and March 26th, 2014. Based upon the information the victims had provided, the police knew the robberies had been committed with the same modus operation at the same location and by the same people. Not that smart. In an effort to apprehend the perpetrators, police responded to one of the same Craigslist ads that the 2 victims had responded to. They sent text messages to Susu, who was using one of the victims' stolen cell phone. Slow. Susu. Police officers surround the area where Sergeant Owen had agreed to meet Susu. Owen planned to arrest Susu and take her into custody while the remaining officers secured Amos and Shearer. Now, first of all, while you over there investigating Diddy, you ain't had no business dating no damn child, let alone putting them up to do stuff like this. You're no different than Diddy. Kids. When Sergeant Owen arrived undercover in plain clothes, however, Susu and Shearer were sitting on a driveway wall outside of an apartment complex. They stood up and exchanged pleasantries with Sergeant Owen. Shearer and Susu then walked to the back of Sergeant Owen's car. Sergeant Owen saw Shearer, who was wearing his hand in the front of his pocket to remove the pew-pew. Shearer and LeBand then moved toward the rear passenger door of Sergeant Owen's vehicle. Shearer pushed LeBand. The kid then up the strap on the law's head. Sergeant Owen testified that
Stop.
trying to avoid getting, he was pointing the pew-pew at him. It's glitching?
Yeah, girl, your shit was glitching bad, child.
Glitching? Oh, hold on.
Fuck up. No, turn that motherfucking camera to the left, nigga. You, Blaze.
That girl is not in the car with him. You is so
Who the fuck driving that vehicle? Because she could turn the camera, ho.
Blaze is just at home.
Hold the fuck up. One moment.
Not you.
Her seats
Can't
is
see
like a
nothing
different
but
color.
herself.